Have you ever felt drawn to someone giving you just enough attention to keep you hoping, but never enough emotional safety to feel secure? They reply sometimes, then disappear. They seem interested, then become distant. One day they make you feel incredibly special, and the next you are left completely confused. It is important to understand that these partners are not always cruel people. Many of them are simply wounded. They avoid closeness because intimacy makes them feel unsafe. They might be afraid of vulnerability, or they simply lack the capacity for emotional presence. This confusion functions as a psychological mechanism that actively builds an addiction to the inconsistency itself. This chart illustrates a behavioral concept called intermittent reinforcement. When someone gives you love inconsistently, the reward comes unpredictably. This erratic pattern hijacks your brain, training it to wait for the next small sign, a message, a compliment, a call. Because the affection oscillates between warm and cold, the inconsistency forces your mind to chase the validation even harder. This attachment is often fueled by the hope of who they could become, which makes the person incredibly hard to let go of. Over time, your brain becomes addicted to the temporary relief of finally receiving their attention, and it is incredibly easy to mistake the end of anxiety for the presence of love. Some people chase emotionally unavailable partners because their distance feels familiar. If you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, your nervous system learned to view emotional distance as a normal baseline. If affection was rare, you learned to work hard for it. If your approval was conditional, you learned that love must be earned. And in adulthood, you subconsciously seek out partners who make you prove your worth all over again. Your conscious heart says, "This hurts," but your nervous system says, "I know this place." This pursuit is rarely about a genuine connection. It is the nervous system trying to win love from someone who cannot give it, attempting to heal the old childhood wound of feeling unseen. This visualizes attachment theory. The node moving forward represents the anxious personality type. People with anxious attachment fear abandonment, need regular reassurance, and pursue closeness when they feel unsafe. The retreating node is the avoidant partner. They may want love, but they feel overwhelmed by intimacy. When things become serious, they pull away to protect themselves. When these two patterns meet, it accelerates a painful feedback loop. The more the avoidant partner pulls away, the more the anxious partner chases. And the more they chase, the more pressure the avoidant person feels, retreating even further. Both sides experience profound emotional unsafety. One person is terrified of being abandoned. The other is terrified of being trapped. The dynamic feels intensely powerful. But people tragically mislabel the intense activation of their deepest psychological wounds as passionate chemistry. There is another reason we attract emotionally unavailable partners: the belief that we can heal them. If you grew up playing the role of the responsible caretaker, the listener, or the helper, you are naturally magnetized to people who need fixing. Beneath the compassion is a desperate hope that if you can heal them, you will finally be considered special enough to be chosen. You can support someone and you can care for them, but you cannot become someone's therapist, parent, and emotional rescue team at the same time. Sacrificing your own identity and boundaries so another person can feel comfortable is not an act of love. It is an act of self-destruction. Islamic tradition roots love and marriage in tranquility, known as sakina, as well as mercy and compassion. Healthy relationships provide emotional safety rather than constant anxiety. You can absolutely make dua for someone's healing, but praying for them does not require you to live in denial of their destructive behavior. There is a clear line between the virtue of patience and the indignity of chasing. You can show mercy to a wounded person without losing your own self-respect in the process. True spiritual and emotional maturity means having genuine compassion for someone's wounds, without allowing those wounds to break your own spirit. Breaking this habit requires deep awareness. You have to start asking hard questions. Do I feel chosen, or am I competing for attention? And you have to look back to identify exactly where you first learned to wait for love. The next step is learning to tolerate healthy love. When your body is accustomed to chaos, a relationship that offers peace, clear communication, and consistency might initially trigger feelings of boredom or suspicion. You have to teach your nervous system that safety is not a threat. Then you build boundaries. If someone repeatedly disappears or keeps you in a state of confusion, you have full permission to step back and protect your heart. Finally, you return your worth back to a law. A partner's inability to love you properly is a reflection of their own limitations. It does not diminish your value. Healing is the active process of anchoring your heart in faith so you can begin choosing relationships from a place of solid self-respect rather than emotional hunger. Healing does not mean you will never feel attracted to these people again. It means you will recognize the pattern faster, pause, and choose peace over intensity. Love is not supposed to feel like begging. Love is not supposed to feel like guessing. Love is not supposed to feel like losing yourself. Real love brings peace, and the love that is written for you will not require you to abandon yourself to receive it. If this video helped you understand your relationship patterns, subscribe to Mind Access with Aqsa for psychology explained through Islamic wisdom. Slowly, you will learn a love you spent your life chasing was never actually what you needed. What you needed was the emotional safety you can finally give yourself.